Welcome to the All Season Anglers YouTube channel. Today is the start of my spring carp campaign. Now that the rivers have closed until June, I'm going to concentrate on some of my local club lakes. It's a complex of 4 lakes here. They're all interconnecting, all pretty roughly the same size. Now I fished these 2 seasons ago. I did quite well, you know. I had 320s, fished them for about 3 months. So fishing here aren't massive, you know, they go up to upper 20s. They're pretty old fish as well, old gnarly warriors. The lakes are fairly overgrown, as you may have seen already. I'll show you a bit more later on. Lots of snags, lots of features like that, overhanging trees. So today is the first day. I came down yesterday just to put a sprinkling of bait in. This campaign I'm using a new bait I've not used before. It's by Evolved Baits and it's called the Evoke Amino Nut Boilie. It's a really nice natural bait, and what I've done with that is I've glugged them in their Evolved Baits vanilla spice liquid as well. So my tactics to start with, at least for the next couple of weeks, is solid bags. But I've got 2 solid bags out at the moment. I've got my left hand rod is off to an overhanging tree on the left, and the right hand rod is in front of the overhanging tree on the right. Not very far out, you know, 3 rod lengths out. These lakes get very weedy in the summer. At the moment it's not too bad, but especially this, which is called Lake 4, it gets a lot of lilies and very weedy. So obviously as the weeds start to grow over the next few weeks, as the water temperature rises and we get more sunlight, I'm probably going to have to change from the solid bags over to things like chods, just so that it can sit above any of that growing weed. So I'm using, on both of these, I'm using pop-ups as well, the Evoke Amino Nut pop-ups, and just so it sits above that little ball of bait on the floor. At the moment they're sort of match the hatch colour wise. As it warms up a bit more and gets a bit sunnier and that, I'll probably switch over to and the fish are a little bit more active. I'll probably switch over to some brighter pop-ups, just so they stand out a bit more as they're hunting around. I hope that you'll enjoy this. You know, if you're not a subscriber already, remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the like as well, and also the notification bell. Then you'll be notified when I upload. I upload every week, and I fish every Sunday, so normally on the Friday or following Friday or Saturday I'll post a video up. So I've recast. I gave them an hour in those spots. Other than that liner right at the beginning, not a great deal. I've cast to where I saw some fizzing going on earlier on the right hand rod, and on the left hand rod I've just cast further along the bank to some more trees. Now I've boosted both of the solid bags with the Evolved Baits vanilla spice, so I basically injected them with this as well, just to give a bit of extra attraction in the water column. What I'll do is the swim on the right, the where I had the right hand rod earlier with the liners, I'm just going to put a bit of bait out there, and probably in an hour or two move back the rod back over there as well. So, I've been fishing now for a few hours. It's now coming up to 11 o'clock, so I'm probably going to fish through till about 1. I just reeled in the rods and had a walk around the lakes just to see if I can spot anything, any signs of fish. There's a few people on today and no one's caught anything yet as far as I'm aware, but it's all very quiet, very still, no signs of fish anymore. This morning, you know, there was some patches of fizzing and a couple of liners, but since then haven't seen anything. So with regards to the tactics that I'm going to use going forward on this campaign, now this swim, as I said earlier, you know, I fished this to start with because it's where I caught the 20s from a couple of seasons ago. So you know, it's a good spot to start. I've identified a couple of swims up on lake number 2. Very snaggy, lots of overhanging trees and trees in the water, and especially I feel once the water temperature starts to rise, the fish will be getting up in the upper layers a bit more and into those sort of overhanging trees. Thing is with these lakes is they're all pretty deep. There's no real shallow water. It's steep, so you know the bank goes in after a few feet. It goes in fairly deep, and you know the bottom's pretty much the same all over. So you know the features that I'm looking for are those sort of snags that are going to hold fish in where they feel comfortable. But you know, I feel that it's going to be a matter of sort of baiting up some swims. You know, I'll come down midweek, drop a bit of bait into some of the swims that I feel that I'm going to fish on the weekend, and start to sort of build up their confidence. You know, I'm not going to be putting in masses of baits, you know, a couple of handfuls into each swim, just so they get used to the bait and used to bait being in those swims. We'll sort of build up a pattern of returning to those swims to see if there's anything in there. So what I'll try and do is get down one day midweek, and then probably on the Saturday afternoon as well, come and put a handful into each, ready to fish on the Sunday morning. At the moment I'm using, as I said earlier, I'm using the solid bags. I'm going to do a bit more leading about when I finish, just to see what's going on out there, how much weed there is. You know, when I've reeled in, the few times I've reeled in, there hasn't really been any weed on the lead or the hook, so it obviously hasn't started growing too quickly yet, I suppose, with this cold weather. But I think as soon as we get, you know, a week or two of warmer weather, that weed is going to really sort of grow up. So I'm going to have to probably then change over to the chod or helicopter style rigs, just so that I can get the presentation over the top of the weed. You know, as we get further into spring, and you know, the sunnier days and they're up in the upper layers, I would then have to probably start thinking about switching as well and using zigs, which is something I'm not particularly familiar with using. So this will be my sort of first campaign where I will start to try and use those zigs. You know, also that means that I'm definitely going to be presenting the bait above the weed. That's the end of my first session on this campaign. Nothing really happened. I wasn't expecting a great deal, to be honest. It's more an exploratory first 2 or 3 weeks. It's just trying to locate where the fish are. As the water starts to warm up in the better weather over the coming weeks, the fish will start being a little bit more active and showing themselves. So at the moment I still think they're holed up, as the water temperature is still quite cold, and you know, we're not seeing any shows. There's no boshing out, there's no cruising around in the upper layers or anything, so it is pretty much at the moment just hoping that you can drop in on them in likely spots. Well, I hope you enjoy this. It's a shame I didn't manage to put a fish on the bank, but this is an ongoing campaign, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are aware when I upload my next part of the campaign. And I hope you're all staying safe and well, and I will catch up with you soon.